Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Diffuse Network Zoomcast, as we're calling it, the 325.
Mm.
I'm Angie Stryker here as your host, and I'm here with Lance Barrett. How you doing, Lance?
Doing well. Happy to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Yay, happy Friday to you.
Yeah, it's huge. We made it, guys. We made another one.
We made
Well
it.
done.
So good. So today we get to interview and spend some time with the one and only Randy Arrowwood, who I have known for more years than I would like to say out loud because we came to tech about the same time and have known each
Yes,
other for a
more
very long
than we
time.
haven't.
Yes, that is true.
Isn't that
Yikes, we're old, but
wild?
that's okay.
Yeah.
So Randy's coming to us live from Fayette County, Georgia, which is just south of Atlanta. We forgot to say that about Jesse last time we were together about exactly where we were. So that's where Randy is today, and we get to ask him some really cool questions around the 325. So without further ado, let's get it started. How you doing today, Randy?
Let's do it. So good, so good. Hoping to not get poured on rain, but uh, excited to be here.
I'm so glad that you agreed to do this with us. You're always so inspirational, what you've got going on, and God is always your light and guiding you into cool and new territories. And also, what a creative human you are. So, thanks for spending time with us today. Here are my questions. So, to get started around the
Mm.
325, the three is mission, community, and worship. And so, tell us currently, what is your mission? What does it look like? What's the context that you're working with? Who are the
Mhm.
people? What are the needs? That's a big question, but start us there.
Sure. So at the summit last year, I felt the first exercise we did was really cool of like putting mission on paper or being able to like articulate it better. And so, yeah, for me, my mission is all about feeding the people of Peachtree City, Georgia, and now so much in southern Chile with authentic community around shared passions. And so that's literal cuisine, food, and just sharing time together. So here, I mean, it's just your Peachtree City golf cart people who are very caught up in their lives and day to day. And it's like, hey, no, why don't we go out on a paddleboard? Why don't you sit on my back deck and drink a beer? Let's just have some barbecue and share the real things in life. And then with Harbor Horizons, we're going to southern Chile. And down there, we serve both the long term missionaries and staff of the organizations that are local and are there permanently, and then the people, the indigenous folks of southern Chile. And down there, the workers often have a hard time breaking through into some of those indigenous communities and having reasons for to open doors and to get connected. And that's such a beautiful, wonderful people who are kind of marginalized and even run off from their land. And so this is a way to get them connected with the outside world and share their traditions and really help draw a connection between their creator deity and God, like, and be like, I'm pretty sure this is the same dude. And here's a book, and we can even learn more. But also, what have you like? They have these oral traditions and like beautiful, rich history of their experiences with God. And it's like, okay, let's share all of that together. Uh, and, I love doing that around a table. So eating, doing life together in as most authentic a way as possible. So it's um, through that sharing of your passion and what your creative and inspiration is, I think breaks down all the barriers so people aren't as apprehensive and we can, really do life.
I love that so much. It's such a beautiful extension of who you already are. I mean, if you follow Randy on any of the socials, you've seen him smoking meat and or putting out recipes of what he's passionately cooking currently. And so what a cool way to use what you love, what you're gifted at to share with others to bring people together. And so tell us how can you just show up in Chile and do this? Like how did this happen for you?
Well, I mean, we went on a scouting trip and I had the lowest expectations possible. I was like, I love Rick Harper, I love Doug Callisted and Shelley and their family. And I was like, if we just get to drink beer for a week, this is going to be fun.
That's a win.
Uh, but maybe God's doing something down here. And I think it was the first night. Um, it's kind of like pretty common question. What are we going to eat? It's like, oh, we could go out somewhere. And I was like, or what do y'all do? And here's some stuff I like. And we just like co-created a meal like that very first time. And that just started sparking. And then whenever we went down into Ralco and hung out with there, same type thing. It's like, there's a grill. What can we put on it? And we just did it together and share. And so through that, it really opened that um, door, and just it was like a divine inspiration. It was like, hey, this is a thing. And so I asked, I was like, what would it look like if we just came down and did redneck potluck dinners together? Would that be received? Would they think we're the weirdest people ever? And they're like, oh, that's so much their culture. And so that sparked it. We just were like, well, let's try it. And we went back one more time and did pilot it a little bit, and then took a team in May for the first big trip.
Amazing. So cool. So it sounds like you're a lot of like a catalyst, the role that you personally play of catalyzing this kind of gathering while also infusing your passions, which is so cool. Tell us about, so your mission is to gather people and to share cultures. Oh, that's
Mhm.
my words. Would you change that?
No, yeah, that's very much it, is to share culture and just yourself, like authentically who each person is.
So real, true, authentic relationships. So then
Right.
the community piece, so if it's the three, it's community, mission, and worship. So the community of people that are doing this, you currently have some on the ground workers that you bring together. Obviously, you have the people that you're serving, and then some people go on these trips with you. Tell us about those
Right.
people.
Yes, exactly. So always looking for teams to join. Plug going in November. If you want to be part of this amazingness, please join us. Hit me up. And so yes, we'll take a handful of people on a journey. So this is like we're calling them vision trips, and the idea is really to help people unlock their passions and vision for things big in their life. So we do kind of like the we call it two beer church time, like where we do with our friends of just sit around a campfire. After a couple beers, you're probably a little bit more open, and you really challenge and talk through. And so it's kind of a journey each night along where we'll talk about what God's doing in your life, and who's there for you, and challenge you. And through that, that's the evenings. During the day, a lot of just hands-on service, and it changes. The number one key is flexibility. um, Variety of talents and personalities across the whole APEST uh, concept. It definitely takes a team, and you need all the different personalities. They just have to be fun, no lamos, and they need to be flexible because it will change the second we get there. We have a pretty clear agenda planned, but day one will not be exactly as planned.
Right on. So November is the next trip. Great plug. Love
Yes.
that. And so then for the worship piece, I heard you say some things, but tell us more specifically about if when we say that the three come together, mission, community, worship,
Hmm.
we think
Hmm.
that's where the mystery of Christ is. And we're comfortable in the Diffuse Network saying that that is the church of tomorrow. So tell us
Hmm.
where the worship piece comes in to just make this like magical, mystical, Christ-centered experience.
Sure. I mean, for me, I'm getting old, right? So things have changed many times. There was a time where if you said the word worship to me, it was like, sing to the Lord type of thing. And I still do. I mean, like I very much personally connect in those times of singing and adoration. But so much more now, I feel like it's taken a step back and admiring God in action. And for me, it is like nature and in human interactions and environments. So, it's like those times where I can be on a paddleboard in a mountain setting, in the woods, hiking around, hanging out, or in Chile, like these smokehouses, they call rucas, are where community just comes together for all the important events. And when you talk to people, like that's their memories of childhood is sitting around the elder closest to the fire, sharing stories, playing games, hanging out and goofing off. And the neat thing in there about the fire is like these are really special places and environments. And so like the local chief will come and bring fire to start your ruka, and you're not supposed to let the fire go out. And it's a very special place. And they're like folklore is that the smoke as it leaves the building is how your conversations and everything is taken to the heavens.
Mm.
And so in those environments is where I'm really connecting and taking a little more time to be in awe of just who God is and how big and amazing, and that there's this big picture and I can play a little part of that.
Mm. It's so organic and so beautiful, and it probably feels so good.
Yes. Yep. Those are great times. But yeah, definitely um, in those connections with people, and just as everybody's telling stories, they're telling their stories, you're telling your stories. You see how much you have in common, and you can sharpen each other, and so through that, times together, it's a clear time of worship.
So beautiful. Love it. Thank you, Randy. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
pivoting a little bit to the two. So we did the three, now we're in the two. We talk about the two being the dugout and the playground. Playground is where you play. And so Chile and Peachtree City, you've already said very different places, but
Yes.
very cool things happening. It's a place where you can fail, fall down, and experiment. I think of like the old seesaws we used to play on in the 80s that were like, death traps or whatever. So there's like some falling down, but there's the getting back up. And so this idea of
Yes.
experimenting. So I don't know if you have something that you've tried that hasn't worked. We like to celebrate our failures in the Diffuse Network because we think if you're falling and failing, then that means you're innovating and you're trying something. So we call them our BFFs, our big fat failures. So it maybe isn't
Mhm.
huge, and you maybe have just started in Chile, so you don't have a failure, but something you've tried that just, that didn't work. We're going to change that up.
Uh, it is new, so nothing big fat. A disappointment was we had spent all this time. We went and met with this Lonco, one of the chiefs up in a village in the Pehuenche communities, and had the greatest time. Fell in love with him with us, and he was like, "Wait a minute, y'all aren't evil coming in to rape, pillage, and destroy. Maybe this could be a thing." And he got excited and he was pushing us like, pick a date, tell me when you're back, I'm going to get my community involved. And we got really hyped about that, and we kept following up and checking back. And then like days before we went, we got word that he proposed it again to his community, and they said no, no, that these outside folk have come in before, and all they want to do is change who we are and make us be exactly like them and whatever, and not happening. You remember what happened to Bob? That type of thing. And so even though the head chief guy was all on board, um, didn't happen. And so we had to pivot, and they filled the time slot with a preschool and wanted us to go and do something food related with a preschool. And I was like, for reals? We're here to, shape. But that was probably my favorite day. Like they invited us into their ruka at the school and shared their food. Like we were slam full. Like they served us
Mm.
first and foremost. And then they're like, "Oh, you had something to do, didn't you?" So I brought my redneck sausage balls. And we had already like prepped a lot of it, but sit there with the kids, and these kids were like picking their nose and then forming the sausage balls, and we let them, cook them together there. And it was, but like you realize, like gaining the trust and forming bonds with the teachers and the children, and then helping them see the outside world might not be quite as scary and we can work together, I think is going to be a big part of it. And then also seeing the women in action, so that some of the church leaders are trended more male, and we were like, oh, okay, that's the people in charge. No, 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 no. When you get down there, you're like, no, the women, the wives, the matriarchs, they're the ones who really drive things. So,
Mm.
I wouldn't especially looking back on it, wouldn't call it like a big old failure, but definitely like a pivot against what was planned and an amazing outcome.
Fascinating. I love it. I love the idea of this smokehouse. I want to see one sometime. It's
Uh,
such a
I
cool
want to build
concept.
one. Like that's one of my next projects is see if Peachtree City will allow such a thing.
Sure. I'm sure there's something in the ordinance that would just allow that. No problem.
Maybe I don't know. We'll
All
just
right.
call it a fire pit.
There you go. Exactly. All right. So the second part of the two. So you've got your playground, you've got some experimenting, you've got some failing. Fantastic. The dugout is what we would say is the other part of the
Mhm.
two. So the dugout, everybody knows what a dugout is. You play ball, you go in, you're dusty, you get cleaned up, you get some strategy, you get some
Yeah.
pats on the back, maybe some refreshment, maybe just a change of some inspiration, and then you're sent back out. So for you personally, where do you
Mhm.
locally find your dugout?
For me, probably my wife has always been my biggest cheerleader and supporter. I mean, she's amazing. Encourages me with all my crazy ideas. You know, I've had a lot. And so that's how and why things work is that she's just there and encourages and is supportive of me leaving for 2 weeks to go try something crazy in a place that I may come back with who knows what stomach disorder. But she's the best. My mom and kids are good. Two Beer Church family, you find folks, diffuse folks are great connections that kind of challenge and sharpen me. So it's like I love having those that I can call on and not just uh, ask or, the basic surface level question. It's like that's what I love is these are the kind of folks that are going that one level deeper. And it's like, no, but what was that? You said something was like a valley moment. Like, what was that kind of downer thing? And what did it feel like? And then did you get through? Okay. And hasn't you gotten through some of those before in the past? Rick Harper's a number of times is like, uh, is that the first time that you've ever been challenged? No. And did you make it through it before? It's like, oh, well, yeah, maybe so. But yeah, no, those are my dugout folks that are there no matter what, and especially challenge and spark creativity. And it's
Mhm.
like, have you thought about this? And it's like, nope, that's a stupid idea. Have you thought about that? It's like, yo, that would be an amazing fit. Let's push.
So good. You're a blessed man. I think a lot of us as apostles maybe don't have that as readily available as you do. And it's so important. We kind of think of it as like a breath. You got to go out and do the things, but you've got to come in and get the inspiration, the rest that you need so that you can go back out. And you can't stay in the dugout forever, can't stay on the playground forever.
Yeah,
And so it sounds like you have a healthy rhythm there. So good job, Randy.
yeah, yeah. And then my best friend Wells Parker been roommate for a few terms at Tech and have stayed in touch ever since and really turned it into amazing times. It's like now it's like a daily dose of encouragement. Are you know are you doing the things and then really know that there's people like he and I like praying for each other for the real things. So yeah, I'm big on having some authentic nucleus surrounding you.
Yeah, so important. Man, we are blessed people coming out of that campus ministry that gave us lifelong friends like y'all
Yes.
and then a lot of our friends in the
Whew.
network. So, whew. Okay, my last question, then I'll finally hand it over to Lance, our insightful one. So we talk about the five as the apest, and it's from Ephesians 4. Some are given to be apostles, some are given to be prophets, some are given to be evangelists, some are given to be shepherds, and some are given to be teachers. And so we find that currently,
Mhm.
often in the local church, the shepherds and the teachers are the gifts that are celebrated. And as Neil Cole puts in Primal Fire, the book that's all about this, he says the apes have left the building. So the apostles, prophets, and evangelists haven't been able to find their spot in the local church. So they are going out and innovating in new and fun ways. And so that's where obviously the Diffuse Network is really special because we're celebrating spiritual entrepreneurs is what we would call it. And Randy, obviously you've been an entrepreneur since I've known you. You've started more things than I can count. And so you're clearly an apostle. I don't know if you've ever recognized that once I heard that I was an apostle, I was like, oh, so I'm not just a weirdo. the gift that we have is that we can see out into the future in a way that people can't, right? We can see the possibilities and we have no fear usually of just like, well, let's try it, see what happens. And so
Right.
as an A on your team, are there gifts that you're starting to notice in others? Because we cannot just always be the A on the team. Like the body of Christ is the APEST in full effect so that this church
Hmm.
of tomorrow is thriving and is sustainable. And so maybe the question is, are you starting to see A, the needs of other teammates to help make this sustainable? Or are there gifts that are coming up that are starting to pop up that you're going, oh, this person is a shepherd and I need them to shepherd our people? Or this person is an evangelist. They're amazing at telling stories so that more people come. So talk to us a little bit about how the APES is maybe shaping out where you're at.
Sure. I mean, I think all the roles are necessary. Like in business, I'm always pushing the team to play their role. If marketing isn't pushing for something, the product side, the executive leadership, finance isn't saying, but you still got to stay within bounds. Like everybody just needs to play their role and we'll be fine. I need to say no a lot from the technology side. And then, of course, we band and work together and get to a really great solution. And in this realm of spiritual entrepreneurship, I think it's the same, right? Is that you need all of those roles because it's a symbiosis that needs to continue. Um, and so, yeah, I'm aware of that more and try and like to celebrate those differences. So, a couple that are different but highly respected, like is Reverend Harper, is not has nobody has all the things. And so he's like out there, very creative, like telling stories uh, in his way, and it's like it always helped me like get out of myself and my rut. And then like on the last trip, um, somebody I was like super excited to serve alongside as your boo, Mr. Matt joined us and was amazing. I mean, he just constantly rolled with the changing environment, was constantly trying to serve and love on and shepherd kind of everybody out
Mm.
there. But all is like not only had his own skills in the kitchen and everything to like layer in, but solutions to problems, and I think that's when all of those come together, you can have the best solution to something that have.
Well, thank you, Randy. That's so cool. It takes a good bit of humility as well. Like a lot of apostles just trudge forward and just plow forward and just don't think about the rest of the team that is needed for it to be sustainable. And you're obviously aware of that and thinking about it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
well, those are my questions, and I'm going to hand it over to Lance, who always has something really powerful to say. So no pressure, Lance.
Ooh, all right, make it power.
Always the most pressure. But I mean, like honestly, like Randy, I'm like really enjoying like hearing, like what you just shared. And it reminds me of just how really awesome that car was, that car ride. The
Yes.
diffuse was. And the same thing like caught my attention here as it did in the car. And also like just hearing about like your story of like when you were like at tech, like co-oping, something that like caught my attention is that the first thing that you said is like, oh, where's your like area where like who are your people that you're like trying to love on and reach out to? And you said like Peachtree City. Like you didn't say a place overseas. You didn't say an answer that I would have expected, and I think a lot of people expect. Um, I've had many conversations with people that are like have been in the workforce after graduating, like have been in the workforce for about 5 years, or people that are about to graduate, like they're upperclassmen, they're about to graduate, and they've wrestled a lot with like I don't feel called to go overseas.
Mm.
Sure.
So I don't know what it looks like to love God and love people. I just don't know what that looks like. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, and it was like I when you were sharing what you share, I was like, oh my goodness, like there's the potential of loving the people that are sitting next to us in lecture, the potential to love on people that sit next to us in the office or that like all of those things is like so high, and
Hmm.
it's just hard to see. And it seems like that you've been gifted with the ability to do that. And so I guess my question is for like for myself, for the people that I've had these conversations with that are wrestling with that, like
Hmm.
how do you see it, and almost like what are some like practical like rubber meets the road kind of things, like advice that you'd give those people? Like they might have been discouraged, right? It's been like 5 years since they graduated and been part of like a campus ministry, or like they're like,
Sure.
I'm scared, I don't know what to do. Like what are just things that it's just like boom, try this, etc. Encouragement to them.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, yes, you do not have to go to Africa to be serving God. Like that is a place. He's at work there too, but he's
Hmm.
also at work down the street. And so, probably the biggest thing is just to have open your eyes, like be aware and it's like take a day, take an afternoon, take something and just go on a walk, go on a drive, and just with that in mind, like show me something that's going on. And our community has a Facebook group for the community. I mean, you can just go down that and watch and look and see there are needs, like obvious needs
Hmm.
that are going on. And so, simple one was was talking with Angie one day, and she's talking about paddle boarding, and I was like, man, I love water. There's a lake like a mile away, not even from my house. I've never, because it's no motorboat. So I brain was like, well, I can't even get in a boat. He's like, ooh, what if I try this? So she sparked it. I go out on face or find a paddle board for 90 bucks. It's always up at the house and you inflate it. I'm like, this will never hold my fat ass. Sure enough, I'm like out. And then like next thing I know, a buddy or friend of my wife's husband I see at the gym, a random conversation, and he mentioned something about paddleboarding. I was like, what? He's like, oh, I've got one if you want to go out sometime. I was like, dude, we need to do this. And that sparked such a good friendship. And we
Hmm.
talk and hang out. We invite other people and go. And it's like, he's not big into the church and has said, like, nope, no interest in that. But this is kind of like a church to me. Like, I enjoy being out on the water with you guys and doing life. And I was like, exactly. You don't have to, there's nothing wrong with the buildings with four walls and lots of programs. But I mean, God's at work everywhere. And so, yeah, I think just having eyes open and looking for it with intentionality, like, okay, sure. And then maybe you need, this much apostle like any to just jump out and try it. But what's the worst that could possibly happen is you encounter somebody, but maybe you make some really good friends and connections and then so out of that then we circled him in with another group of guys that would go out and have wings and beer on Wednesday nights, and that is just another great environment of people sharing and doing life and have real conversations at random local bar that has the best wings in town. And, so I mean, those environments exist. And I think, yeah, you don't have to, join a cult or go to some crazy place far away to do something powerful.
Wow. And I love that. I think that taking a pause, just taking an afternoon and just notice, or just scrolling on a page and scrolling, it's just that's so like practical. So in those spaces that you described, like where these wings are, and then like these genuine conversations just happen,
Hmm.
do you find them naturally going to like faith in the Lord, or does that need some encouraging also, just so that it's not just hanging out, just to hang out? Like, yeah.
I mean, it comes up some but a lot of times it's prompted by things that people see. So, I mean, obviously, hey, where were you last week? Well, I were here. I was in Chile. Remember we talked about that? And like, well, what are y'all actually doing there? And
Okay.
just opens the door and you talk, and then and a lot of their comments are so cool and questions. and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, like that sounds kind of cool. And you're like living out that faith stuff that you've mentioned a time or two, not just, forcing it on somebody.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think it naturally can happen. But also, I don't know, my thing has always been like, even though I would love for everybody I ever know to get a great relationship with Jesus, like it's not this overt thing of, that's not why I'm there, is to convert them all. And I think people recognize that. So it's like you're here and want to have a relationship that works. And through that, I think it organically happens and comes and shows up. And it, in the past, we've been through some health scares and come and be like, now wait a minute, you're going through all of this. How's that even possible? Like, well, now's a good time. Let me tell you about who provides peace and comfort and joy in the midst
Let's
of
freaking
this.
go.
It's like it opens doors, but I guess my encouragement is to not go into it thinking you're gonna save everybody.
Hmm.
Just love them.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Thanks, Randy.
So good. It's like that old quote, and I don't remember who said it, so I won't even try, but preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words. Yeah, so that's what you're doing. Good stuff.
He's not even gonna try, and Zoom won't let her.
Here, I'm back. I'm
I
back.
think
Yes.
there
Rural
we go.
Alabama. So my quote was, preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words. I don't remember who said it, but
Yes,
that's
St.
it.
Francis of Assisi.
There you go. Good job.
Oh, that's
Yes,
great.
That's good. That's
yes,
good.
that
Yeah, and
that is
that's your
yes.
life.
No, that resonates all the time.
Yeah. So good, Randy. You're so inspiring. Thank you for sharing with us. I always love to hear
No, this
what
is
you're
fun.
into.
Thanks.
And yes, my husband had a fantastic, I wouldn't say life altering, but close experience
Yeah.
in Chile. Like it was really, really good for him. And he loved it so much. So thank you for
Yes.
inviting him into that and all that you're doing in all the places. So appreciate you. I would be silly if I didn't say things like we're having an Atlanta gathering of the Diffuse Network in October at the Greenhouse with Jesse
Yeah.
Dukes, who we interviewed last week, and that's October 25th. So that's a Saturday afternoon from 2 to 6. We'll be at his new place, the Greenhouse, checking it out and getting to know each other and also getting to know Orchard, who supports nonprofits. And then our big summit once a year is so fun for all spiritual entrepreneurs. That's February 6th through 8th in Charleston. And we're starting to get some information out there about that. But put it on your calendar. We want you there for all of these great conversations. That is just we just took 30 minutes to have this conversation, but it's a whole weekend of this kind of stuff. Just like hanging out with people who are doing like the coolest things in the most innovative ways, and uncovering the Church of Tomorrow is just such a blast. And there's a little bit of karaoke and maybe some dancing, but it's so fun. So
Yes. And ride together with people so that you can have even more talks.
Absolutely.
yeah, magical things came out of your car ride. I mean, everybody came out of that like
Yes.
different people. So good job. So yeah, so that's all for us for the Diffuse Network. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.